How was that?
So I'm doing on, what is it, the 16th, I think, April 16th from 10 to 12, Ryan Yonke from 719 Lending.
Somebody's coffee over here?
And he's he's a gold medal
I think that might
Olympic
be,
skater.
Charles.
Ryan
I didn't know
Yonke at
that.
719 Lending.
Big thigh.
He's a
He's a gold medalist Olympic skater.
Wow.
What kind of skater?
I
Figure
think
skater?
figure skater,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, he has
Hey,
that
who
program
did,
for like
who's
the
the title
older
company
folks
that
and
he
being
used
able to
for
do a
you?
reverse mortgage
What's that?
and purchase and not have to pay until they die. And
So-
all that.
He
so
said he had
the-
he said he had your info. I think it was Kyle.
You pay depending on your age.
'Cause I just
So
got
like at
a,
63,
60, yeah.
from
you would pay
Tracy,
65%
sent me
down payment,
your,
right? So
offer.
let's say
And
it's
she's
$1
like,
million house, you'd pay
this was signed by the
650,000,
LLC.
and then the remainder of it
Not
would be
my son's
financed
name.
in a reverse
Yeah.
mortgage,
And
where
usually if it's
you
like
don't
that,
have
the
any
title company catches
payments.
it and like, hey, can you have
You just
have
the
them
three
change
requirements are
the,
you have to primary residence,
You haven't-
so
did you
to live
have
with
an
6
amend
months
to
and
that?
1 day
Oh what?
an amend?
a year.
To change the buyer's name?
You have to
Or
stay
the
current on your
seller's
homeowner's
name?
insurance
No.
and your property taxes.
So they're coming to speak with us, the reverse
Normally
mortgage
title
people
Oh, okay.
again.
like, so like,
Let me tell you
so they'll
when.
like sign it like.
No, don't tell
This
him.
one is.
Well, he's doing a class
4933 Haiti
with
Way
719.
LLC.
I just
Yeah,
want-
it needs to be signed by a person.
I know enough
So the
about it,
title
but
company
I
would
have
normally
more questions
say, like,
because
hey,
I'm
you need
thinking
it to
about
say
it eventually for
4933
us.
Haiti Way
This
LLC.
is
Oh,
a
it's
way of being
incredible.
pre-qualified,
And the
so that you
person's
can go
name.
purchase the
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So you pre-qualify,
And,
and to qualify
so
from what I
of course,
understand.
It's not based on,
Is-
it's not contingent.
is
I don't think it's a problem. It's-
on the
It's just weird.
on being able
Yeah.
to
That way they
pay
catch that and they
your
say, "Can you
taxes
do an
and
amend
your
or something
property
to change the
insurance.
name?"
How old do you have to
They,
be?
if they would
It's
have
like
made us,
63 or 65?
I heard 55 and
Oh,
it's
maybe
somebody's
they did
bullet
there.
point thing, but
Yeah.
I thought it was 63.
That's what I was thinking. Because he's done
So-
it before, like
so-
a year ago, and
I'm
What
just
is the
curious.
rate? Is it a competitive rate on the remainder?
It's the regular, whatever the conventional rate
I know it's
is.
not.
yeah, and then they don't pay
Not
the loan
yourself,
off
you're
until
the
they
buyer,
pass.
right?
65%
Yeah.
down payment.
Yeah.
What's that?
They have a 65% down payment?
Yeah. So
it's-
here's what's gonna help.
Maybe
Yeah, so
Tracy-
People
even on
like
the settlement
me,
statement, they
that-
still
Just helps
had
you get a better home than what you're
That-
paying
that-
for.
whose plan was to sell when you retire, sell your house
So the boomers.
and move
Peter,
away
Fortune, Fior,
and have the same house for half the cost.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, so that's-
small town
okay.
America. Well, that's changed. Now you sell your house here and you get a smaller house for more money in small town USA.
Yeah.
Right? So, but now I can get so I figure my house I could sell for let's just say I could clear 800. Let's say I could clear 750. So instead of looking for a $750,000 house,
Downsize
you
a
know,
little
I
bit.
can get and have $0 in the bank. I can get $1 million house and have 100,000 in the bank.
Yeah, it's to get like the older
It's-
folks
it's
to
incredible.
finish,
So on-
to finish their days out with some money
Yeah.
and not a stressful thing of paying a house payment.
They're gonna collect their interest when that house sells in the future.
They're going to
So-
get the payoff.
Well, so
of
yeah,
that loan.
so you're in my scenario, your $350,000 note will build. Let's say it's 6.5%.
It'll build.
6.5% a year. But
But you're not paying on it.
You don't have to pay
Comes
on
out of
that.
your estate
Now,
later.
You can if you want, but like I told
No, nobody would pay it. Like,
right?
But you know,
it's still you're
The
150 years
kids are
old.
like, wait a minute.
like this is what I tell the final expense
People
insurance
insurance
people that call me.
300 these days.
You know, when upon my death, I'm going to be a
That's
tremendous
right.
burden to my children. So it's but you'll never be upside down
on social
unless you live to
security.
be like 150.
Right. So yeah, because the law is. So by the way, the classes, they're going to come here on April 30th.
The same
So I have
company?
the bingo reverse mortgage. So we had them here last year,
Yeah, no, different company. Yeah.
Yeah.
and well, they only do reverse mortgage. They don't do like regular mortgages. So they're like
And-
experts in just reverse mortgages, right?
And what's the company's name of?
Yeah, exactly. But if
Bingo.
the law is that the reverse mortgage investor has to increase the value of your home 4% a year. So they have to, even though it may not even be worth it, they have to consider that your house at least grew 4%.
That's
You
the
can't guarantee
So-
that.
well.
You
That's
can't
the,
guarantee it,
that's the
but
US
that's their
average.
fault. That's their problem, right? So
Their
So they,
triangle.
so let's say you have a
Basically, right?
Yeah.
$100,000 house, just for the sake of ease, then it's 104, then it's 100, 4%, then it goes 108, whatever, it's growing, right? But then you have a reverse mortgage that you're, let's say, drawing from. So it goes like this, here's your reverse mortgage you're drawing from, here's your equity between this and your value. And they're still giving you money, but your house is growing and they still have to give you money until you're 150 years old, like on a reverse mortgage.
Well, this
And
is-
so you never go, so if your value drops like this, they still have to think that your value's up here. So even if your value drops, they're still giving you money
It's
well,
in the contract.
forever. Yeah, and now that's a reverse mortgage, but a reverse purchase is totally different, where you can purchase a home. And I had a
You can purchase
couple.
more.
You can
Or-
purchase more.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I like
so,
that.
so
But then
here-
it's for the older folks over that, so then a lot of it's downsizing too,
Right.
or going into a patio home or something like
people
that.
Right.
can't
A
afford to
nicer one.
downsize
Yeah.
because they're in a 3% loan.
Totally.
Because
Totally.
they've refied 7 times in the last
Mm-hmm.
12 years, and now they're like, well, God, if I can't afford to because I've got 300 in equity, even though, and I find a $600,000 house, I'm paying more for that $300,000 mortgage at 7% than I am at 275. It's the
Yeah,
golden
so
handcuff.
I had a couple come in that I had them under contract at a house in Manitou, 500 grand. And they were gonna pay cash 500 grand for this house. I said, would you like to keep some of your cash? You could do a reverse mortgage, never make a payment on that house for as long as you live, and keep some of your cash. So they came in, I had Bingo come in, they sat down, they worked up a whole thing. They had to have like 320,000 down
Yeah.
or something like that. So they put they were gonna put 320 down, and then they would keep 180 in their pocket.
Yeah,
That's a
Oh
no-brainer.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How old do you have to be?
62,
60.
62.
62 or 63.
Right, exactly. I got like 30 years.
Hey,
Yeah.
I have 30.
I'm knocking on the door.
Do
But
both of us have to be? Because Brent's 58. Do both of us have to be?
no,
No.
only one person.
Oh yeah, it's only one.
Right.
But they take the calculation off the youngest person.
Yeah, and
That's right.
I think even like
But what are you,
family,
like
like kids and
36?
stuff
Right.
can help
Next
you with
week.
it too.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think your
52.
kids can be
36.
part of it as
But
well.
they take it off the youngest person.
Yeah.
So all your calculations.
I
don't-
thought that
don't
I
take
would
off the youngest
be
person.
a non-qualifying spouse.
Non-borrowing.
Could you just
Non-borrowing
put St. Deed
spouse
onto
is
just
what
his
she-
name?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, like
No, they take the person that qualifies, but then
Come to my
they
class.
why do I?
but they run the numbers.
Why do
If
I-
somebody was 58 and somebody's 62, they run the numbers on the person that's 58 because
He might live
You're gonna
longer.
live
you're gonna live a lot longer. So they take all the numbers from that.
Mhm.
But so anyway, this couple comes in and I'm like, you get to keep 180 grand, and they signed up. They started going through the qualifying process, and then up came a encroachment issue on the house.
Uh-huh.
Well, another encroachment for Rob Rymuth.
He's a specialist.
And so I started working through that, and come to find out, it was encroachment that's gonna take like 5 months to get hammered out,
Really?
The neighbors,
And they couldn't close with.
and they called, and they're like,
Yeah.
Rob, you're a horrible realtor, how could you
Not again.
not get,
Not again.
and they let my contract expire, and then when it finally
no.
came up 5 months later, they got a different realtor,
And did the same thing.
and they bought that house. No, they didn't use the bingo reverse, they just paid cash for it. They thought that everything that I set them up for was bad.
Wrong.
Well, what
Rob.
about the?
And
what
now
about
they're
the
Or that you were
whole
scamming
period?
them.
Didn't you?
That's
Right.
crazy.
Like the encroachment was your fault.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the closer comes in. We have a flag on the play.
Yeah.
Encroachment on the neighbor.
Some
15
realtor,
yards.
It's his fault. Yeah.
some realtor that doesn't do much, they contacted him like 4 months later, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I can get this all worked out." So he called the title company,
why-
and guess what? They got it worked out within 30 days. Like,
What was the encroachment?
the builder built a wall onto
On
the other people's
the
lot, the neighbor's lot, And it was so part of their
so the
yard was
subject
like
property was
5
encroaching?
feet. Yeah, the subject property was cool. But here's what happened when the builder did that, because it was a kind of expensive wall. They did a quitclaim deed of that little section or whatever to them,
Made
but
it
they
an
would
easement.
not insure that easement. They had to it was like an illegal quitclaim. They had to quitclaim deed it back and figure out. But
Well,
now
the-
the neighbor wanted money, and the mortgage company wouldn't allow it because they gave a loan on the
For the
neighbor's
whole
house.
lot.
Right,
Right.
exactly. And so it got all kind of hairy.
Yeah.
So everybody had to
Somebody should sue the
sign off
builder.
on this. So it just took time to get them all signed up, but they thought it was my fault.
And it sounds like there was a title claim in
Wow.
You don't
I lost
ever
15
do
grand,
easements, though.
man.
That's how we found out about my easement, was it was an exception on the list of exceptions on the title work. That's how we found out that it was in writing, not a handshake deal.
Yeah.
Well, and that's how normally we can see if there's water stuff too, is in the exceptions.
Yeah.
If something's recorded, then we pick it up and put it in there.
So that other realtor, when he called the title company, hey, they were almost done, ready to get it done for him.
Did-
You know.
did you have
So
a
that
folder
realtor
period
acted
though?
like he was the one that
Did
got
He's
it.
the hero.
But it was
Here it is.
like 5 months later, though. He said, wasn't it
Well,
like
but
5
it was
months?
right after.
Yeah, it was like 5
It
months
was right
later.
after the contract expired.
So my
So
buyer's
still-
agency expired,
Oh.
Right, but then you have
so
a
that was
90
and so
whatever.
that got them out so they could get another realtor.
Wow.
But
They thought you
but
were
had a
trying-
holdover period.
Holdover period. Yeah.
When's the class?
Well, our contract
5
expired
I'll send you
too.
a-
Yes. And
well,
do you have
okay.
my email?
The-
Or
the
you-
total-
I don't think you
I
can
don't
do a
think I know that.
holdover
That's right. You
period.
can
I
find me.
can find
Yes.
everything.
You do a holdover period,
And
you
like
check
the
the
same
box
thing
that
might
says
be
you
taking
are,
the,
you do.
You
get
have to
the money.
identify.
But it wasn't
They
under
might
contract
buy a house.
anymore.
But I don't know.
If you identify a pro-
Also with
so
you
if your
too,
buyer agency expires,
Like I was telling
you're
them,
like-
I'm gonna start sending them like
or
all
listing.
properties. Like I'll look up
Let's
their
say
address
you've
and
got
then in your
a
community,
buyer
I'll send you a
breathing heavy about a property,
So then you're,
you can
Yeah.
you know, so
I
you
you
can start
can
marketing.
identify the property to them in writing, and whatever your holdover period is, if they write it, want to write on it, you're entitled to your commission. That holdover time.
And when
No,
you
I'm just
schedule a
curious.
showing, if you put your buyer's name there,
Okay,
you have
okay,
evidence
so-
that you showed it.
But
Yeah.
is that
If-
based on the
Free
offer,
margarita.
or is that
No
based on
business
the
card.
exclusive contract?
Okay, so the holdover period, this is a great discussion here.
Yeah,
If-
hold over.
If
Yeah, I
the contract, if you guys left the contract and then there was 90 days after the offer, you know, then does that count, or is it after your
Right.
exclusive expires?
Actually, it's after the exclusive, because that's where it is. It's in
Mm-hmm.
the exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but
It's
hold
in
on,
the-
hold
the
on.
listing,
It's in the
buyer
But
listing.
I feel like
or
because
But, you
you
know-
had the buyer, like you procured the buyer
Right.
for that.
Okay, so I had the buyer, we had it under contract.
Right.
We ran into the title stuff, so we had to cancel the contract. Everybody got their earnest money back. It's dead. Then it sits for, let's say, 4 months, and my buyer's agency expires.
Okay.
Okay, so now the contract's dead. My buyer's agency expires. I have the holdover period.
90 days?
Another month, they close with another realtor.
Yeah.
Do I really have actionable?
Yes.
They went
against
30
them.
days after your holdover period expired, or
No,
within
it'd be
your
like
holdover-
30 days. It was 30 days. I should probably look at that contract. I felt like I couldn't get them because I think your buyer's agency.
It's clear in there.
Yeah.
But that's if you submitted an offer.
Well,
But it was 5 months prior.
you have to.
Right, so-
But it's in the exclusive, not the offer. All
How
I'm saying.
long do you
Do
guys
you know what I'm
take your
saying?
holdover
Like,
periods?
You,
I
you,
make
you
it
have to
90 or 120.
identify, because
Yeah, it
in
has
the
to
in the
be
listing
proven.
contracts, there's a section where to the client, has another, are you,
Right.
do you have a written agreement with another agent? Has another agent submitted a list of names for a holdover or something like that?
Right. So
The second
So-
agent
if you didn't,
screwed
if you
you.
didn't.
Well, what happened was
submit-
I didn't even know that they were under contract because when
Yeah.
I was calling the title company going, "Hey, are you guys getting this through?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah."
Oh, you were just helping out.
I was like, "Oh, great!" So I started texting them, and they weren't texting me back. And then the agent called and went, "They're still under contract. They're under contract on this with a different agent."
You should have gone
I
to
said,
that
what?
agent. That agent.
So yeah,
What if that
like,
expired? So
Well,
I
Rob's
don't
nice.
know.
I
I
go
wouldn't
over
chase
that
down.
with
You can't
every
do
single
their
client I
business
have.
with
It's
that
too
people. It's
gray
too,
on
it's
this
just
one.
holding period means any
But
property
that's
I
what
show
it's
you,
for.
it means that any property I show you, you cannot go after for 90 days after I show it to you with another agent.
That's what it's for.
But
yeah.
I
Yeah, but
collected
it
on
was-
procuring cause.
But you have to identify a property or a buyer. If it's your listing, you have to identify
or
Jane and John Doe.
I
see,
had emails
I just
going
felt like it
between
wasn't
me
worth
and those
fighting.
people.
And
Yeah.
What does that
they were
mean?
already
No.
under contract.
Let's see.
Does that
And
mean
You're gonna go be that
in writing as
guy
an
that
offer?
runs
I'm gonna be that
no,
guy
I just
Joe
had
sues
emails going
for
back and forth
15
showing
grand or-
that I talked to them
You're gonna
about
get
that
it in your
house.
next
Right.
deal. down the road.
Exactly.
They decided they
Yeah.
could save money by going through the listing agent.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So the listing agent
That's what
was
the holdover is
responsible.
for.
And-
Yeah, the
Yeah, and
listing
it's
agent
fighting
was
fire with
responsible
fire
for
kind of
asking them,
thing.
has
It
anyone
Yeah.
shown
turn
you
out
this
bad.
house? Are you working with
Right,
anyone?
and I was
If
supposed
they
to
lie
list
to
their
her, then
house
what can she
when
do?
they bought it.
But everybody
So
kind
that
of,
they,
You lost a lot of
anyway,
Yeah,
I
you
had
lost.
fun.
It says
Yeah.
if the,
I
Yeah.
took
if
the
the
commission
property
from
is
her.
one in which
Yeah.
broker negotiated, and if broker submitted his address or other description in writing to buyer during the listing period. So does that include like verbal
No,
negotiation,
never.
or just
But
you
they-
actually
Well, I
put
think
the
it has
Well,
The
it was
emails are-
under,
It was.
it was under contract
Yeah.
5 months prior,
yeah.
Yeah.
but
But if that's the case, then
is
you
it
could
90
never
days
fire your
after?
buyer's agent and buy with another.
In
You
writing,
You could
can
just not the
terminate.
house they showed you.
After the
You can
listing
get
different-
period
house.
different house
expires.
that you
Just
did
not
look at
the
them
house
with.
that-
So
yeah.
it's your-
So when
it's
I'm
your
talking to
listing
clients, I say, if I show you this
contract.
house,
I don't,
you have to buy
yeah,
it with
my,
me.
my exclusive.
You
You
can
know,
both
so-
get out of
because
their
I took you
agency
to it.
agreement if you both agree to it in writing. Buyer says, I don't
I
want
mean,
to
if
work
it
with you
was like
anymore.
$1 million home, I probably would have had, you know,
Maybe you still could.
no. no.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
not
Hey,
worth
remember
it.
me?
So,
15,000.
Right.
the buy, if
He's
buyer
reading it now.
during listing period, however,
He just read it.
if broker submitted its address or other description in writing to buyer, so you have to submit that to buyer saying, hey, this house at 1234 Main Street, I will collect a success fee
Right.
if you write on it within the holdover period with another
But
agent.
you didn't even know that was
Well, what
it.
if
You
you-
didn't even like you
Yeah.
thought.
I didn't
you were
even know it was
still
under
Like,
contract with
30
them
houses.
until I
You
was
thought it was dead.
waiting.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it to get ironed out,
How
so
would
I'd
you
call
know?
them.
Like, how would you
Yeah.
know unless you
And
just
the other-
stumbled
Well,
on it?
unless they had
went
like a
with
big
someone
fight
else.
and they were like, yeah,
So,
we're not using you.
The second agent, when the second agent wrote on that, or did a buyer agreement, agency agreement with these people, that agent should have said, did you look at, what houses have you looked at before? And that agent should say in the buyer agreement, I will represent you in everything except this house and this house and this house.
Because that
I-
agent
That's
had
what it
to
should
have
have been.
known
I will,
that it.
I will never do that because it's not on me.
Right.
I'm sure they told him the
It's
whole
not on
story
me.
though.
If
Oh,
He should've
yeah,
said that
oh,
I
yeah.
cannot
He was
represent
like,
you in
I
this
can,
house.
I can get
If,
this fixed.
Yeah, that's an ethics thing.
but
Yeah.
if
Yeah, I'm not going to look for a reason for them not to sign it with me.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
I mean,
think, like,
if
okay,
they
are
say-
you sure you haven't seen this
'cause-
with Rob? Or,
because
Yeah.
in here
Yeah.
there's where is it? I think it's
That agent should have called you.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
let me
Period.
tell you what happened.
Oh, he's.
So I got her text right here. So
is
she,
this recent?
no, it was
Oh.
like,
Okay.
when was this? November 8th.
Okay.
Anyway, I also
Pretty recent.
recommended a realtor. I
Last
found
6 months.
found a high-powered realtor down in Kansas to sell a house that they had down there. And
earned your
he gave me a
commission.
referral fee, right? And she says, here's what she says. I said, Patty, good news, the deed was recorded on the Amethyst and we can now make an offer to close. Do you still want Amethyst? Right, and that was before I knew, and they were already under contract. And so anyway, she says, I wasn't happy with the fiduciary contract. I lost money selling the house in Kentucky, too cheap, and then you didn't tell me they had a cloudy title, and I cashed CDs and lost more. That was when this one
Yeah.
here in Manitou came up. I didn't tell them that I had a cloudy title because I didn't know
You
until
didn't
the
know
title
until the
came
title
back.
work.
They said we
that's
can't
who
close on
finds out.
this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do title work for.
You have to educate them.
And I cashed CDs because they were going to pay cash. Lost more than 10,000, with taking out CDs early and then that crazy move. I have by the way, I also, when we found out there was a cloudy title, she goes, Rob, if I don't get that house by July 1st so I can see the fireworks, and this is like June 28th, right?
Yeah.
If I can't move in, then I'm killing this whole thing. So I told the agent, and they said, well,
cloudy anyway.
until we work this out, why don't you just move in? I said,
Like
they
the
want to
title.
move in for free. So they moved in for free
They moved
Wow.
in this
into the house. I had to move in
Oh.
for free.
For
So they were in
free.
there over a month or so.
Got to see the damn fireworks.
Got to see the fireworks, and then they started going, Rob, why isn't this not getting? We wanna make sure this is our house, and blah
I
blah.
remember
And
this one
then
now.
they moved back out into their house.
What a mess.
So she says,
And then they moved back.
when they moved back into
And
the
then they
house,
moved back 5
Jesus.
months later.
right? And then they moved back. That's why she's saying, and that crazy move. I have a realtor that knows people at land
As if you
title,
don't.
and he was able to straighten out everything.
Oh gosh, this makes me just cringe.
I
You
know.
Makes
couldn't
me so
have
sad.
settled it. You couldn't have settled it. I told you in August that I was finished.
Oh.
Can you believe
You have
that?
to bite your tongue.
It's
Yeah.
not even worth it. Here's what I
You know
told
what?
her.
Uh,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
what'd
want to
you
know
tell
your
him?
we
reply.
obviously have the address. I know a guy. I'm just saying.
So I said, "Are you doing the reverse purchase?" She says, "No." And I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness." So I said, "That would have saved you $150,000." I
Good
am bummed.
answer.
I am bummed for you, but I
Uh-huh.
respect your decision. No realtor fixed anything. Title had to fix it, and it just took time. I did everything right. They just blindsided us with that easement, and no one knew about it. I appreciate you, Patty. I am glad you are finally able to get your house.
Getting all
You're a good
emotional.
guy.
Yeah,
you
you
are
are.
a really good
Yeah,
guy.
you
Yeah,
can let
you
it
can
go.
sleep,
But-
you can slobber when you sleep.
You so
Yeah. You win some.
Then how
you-
do I argue with
Right.
that
No, you don't.
ridiculousness?
You
and you took the higher road. You win some, you lose some. You'll get
That's
it back.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
You know,
and
and
in the buyer agency though, there's
You're still trying to go after it,
Dave's like,
Professor.
hey, no way.
Well, no,
All my money.
Would you have gone after that when you read
I
that
wouldn't
kind of
have.
text?
I would have let it go.
She's irrational.
She's
She is.
irrational.
She's
I would
irrational.
totally. Well, but you know what? If you didn't submit the property in writing for the holdover period, you have to submit something to the buyer. 1, 2, 3, 4 Main Street. I'm submitting this. That this is if you purchase during the holdover period. So you'd have to submit that because on the buyer agency agreement, where we talk about buyer represents, they are not currently party to another agreement with another agent.
Yeah.
The next line is buyer further represents the buyer has not received a list of submitted property pursuant to the previous listing or purchase.
Oh yeah, I would have had to send a list saying you can't buy the following properties for 90 days.
Because I showed him.
Well, no,
But you, the
But
whole
you know
time you're
what? They
thinking
would have
you're
waited for
closing
90
it.
days.
Yeah.
You're
They would've
so
waited
mad
you
at
out.
me.
Yep.
Exactly.
So if you had done that, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there must have been a claim or something for land to be doing stuff in the background. There had to be some on that encroachment, or on all of it.
It was the
Well,
illegal
it was
deed that was filed against it, and everybody having to sign off. Their attorneys having to sign
So
off.
that mean to me there was something going on in the background.
But title doesn't insure easements,
No,
so that could have just
no, but
it had to be
encroachments.
restored.
But on encroachments,
Oh,
if you have
encroachment.
owner's extended coverage, then we're on the hook for that.
Okay, right. It was
Right.
an encroachment, not an easement.
Yeah, it's
But
an
this was
encroachment.
filed, I think, when the quitclaim deed was filed. It had nothing to do with title, so it was just filed by some homeowners.
Because of the-
we messed up with this wall. Let's file this thing.
So they did a quit claim instead of an easement.
right.
So a quit claim
Instead-
for that.
yeah,
and it
piece of
had to go
property?
back to the easement. They said.
Yeah, see, they
title
quit-claimed-
wanted it back to the
They
easement.
actually gave the piece to a person.
So they
And they needed
basically
to make it an
Yes.
easement so
Yes.
that then on each
Right.
side you have the full lot.
they basically did an illegal subdivision.
Yes,
That's exactly right.
that's what it was.
And the
Mhm.
Yeah.
lender, it was done after the loan was on there. The lender wanted it back to the easement.
Right. For
Right.
their full lot.
Yeah, right. Because you can't just give away a portion of your land when the lender has
Mhm.
a lien, a deed of trust
Right.
against it.
Right.
Right, so it all had to be
Yeah,
unwound,
right.
Yes.
and so.
There was a claim in
That
there.
just
somewhere.
took
I'm
a
just
while.
glad they got that good agent. I'm
Oh, I'm
like,
glad they got that really good agent that fixed everything.
star.
Yeah. What a mess.
Have you seen houses where the side of the house is the property line when they're close together and they'll have like a fence coming off the side of the house? So the backyard of one house is the fence and the side of the other house. They stagger the houses like this. And
Yeah.
the property line literally is the side of the houses.
So
That's crazy.
they're doing
Oh,
that,
no.
and
The new ones?
They don't care later down the
Well, I
line
had one and
about
the air conditioner was on
encroaching.
the other person's
the-
property.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
So that turned into a
horrible.
title mess. I
Yeah.
think that I think it wasn't that long ago. I can't believe I don't remember, but I think the title company required a full survey.
Uh-huh.
there's a neighborhood over
That's
by
horrible.
I negotiated it with. I talked
Wolf
to
Ranch.
the underwriter.
the
and
new
we
part of
got
Wolf
through it.
Ranch is where they're
But that's just
developing
like
now.
I mean,
Wait,
that's
hold on, let me
just,
see
The
what she
builder.
says first.
Well,
So
no,
you
the
negotiated
AC
it and got it.
I got
through?
it closed, and I was the seller and the agent, and I got it closed by going to the underwriter directly. I don't remember what we did. I think we just did an ILC and some sort of agreement with the neighbor. The neighbor cooperated, but the
Right.
AC was added after. It wasn't added by the builder.
Right.
So, but you had to literally
Is-
go in that person's yard to access the
Oh,
unit.
yeah,
But
that's
Yeah.
is the AC an
Wow.
improvement?
It was owned by the neighbor.
No, but is it
That's
Because-
unbelievable.
a driveway
What
is an
AC company
improvement,
would put it on
right?
something?
A
They all
fence
just
is an
cooperated
improvement.
at the time.
But an
There was nowhere
AC
to put it.
is sitting there.
Yeah, there's nowhere
You
to put
can
it.
actually lift it up
Yeah, it was
and
not.
move it. So I don't know that an AC would qualify as
well, and then
It
they
was
could,
attached.
they could have put it inside the lot lines, right? Like,
Right.
they probably put it out here,
they're-
which then encroached
they're-
on everybody else.
They're doing easements in this neighborhood. A friend of mine bought a house. Oh, a friend of mine bought a house with somebody else.
Oh my gosh, it was like, okay,
That's your fault.
yeah.
And they said, come on over, let me show you my new house. You're a realtor, right? Yeah, I want to show you my new house.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Thank you for letting
Can't
me
wait.
see your
That's your fault.
No,
your
it
fault.
isn't.
You're sending them stuff every month? and
Yes.
stuff like
Rob gets a lot of that
Oh, wow,
stuff.
that's
You
weird.
get a lot of that, like
You know
encroachments
what?
and
I'm at a point
easements.
where,
and-
you know what? Loyalty is fleeting, and don't ever drown in front of me, because you will drown. Actually, just kidding.
You're so worth the $100 a month.
Thank you. That's the only
stand
reason
up.
Joe Clement wanted me at Remax was that. You're not doing very much business, but we love you here,
I'm
Dave.
gonna find this out. Work
So,
I want your $600 a month.
But I look and there's the patio, and then there's like a space like it's not even as wide as this room, and there's the other house, and I'm like, so, and they had like AstroTurf, and I go, so is this yours or what? So this is mine, but the lot line is right between, but we've deeded it. It's a deeded easement. And because there's no, it's just wall. There's no doors or windows that people can access. So she has all, she can put patio furniture or whatever in that little, it's like a townhome yard.
They deeded it to her, that piece.
Easemented. Yeah, so they made it easement. And then on the other side of her house, it's the same thing.
Uh-huh.
She eased to the other guy.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna ask co-pilot.
Yeah, I
what
don't
the-
know
Granted an
that
easement.
sentence, but
It's called
Granted.
granted an
Granted, easement granted.
she eased the easement.
Is
easement.
easemented a
She
word?
easemented it. I don't think
And
so.
I just thought, wow, these guys are just, man, they're smaller the lot, the more houses they can build.
Yeah, right. So
And this
if I'm trying to
Toll
get my
Brothers.
mower in the backyard, I need you to move your air conditioner.
Yeah, you lift this up every Saturday. Yeah.
There's nothing to mow. Nothing to mow, you know.
And only during spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
There's some crazy stuff out there. You guys, you get a lot of that stuff.
I don't know. I don't know why.
Why? Yeah, like.
Well, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, we have the same hurdles that we've always had, but now they're really high.
That's right.
So you're not running hurdles. Like you can run over a couple hurdles, and then there's like the homeowner's insurance hurdle.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to pole vault that.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right. That's right.
So it's not like
After
there's
calling
extra
30
stuff. It's
people.
just some of the stuff that used to be a slam dunk is now.
Do you have a good insurance agent? Like, I mean, I have a person that I feel like is really good and really fights and tries to find, like, she's brokers it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do you
right.
all have, like, people, like, what do you use?
I use John Karsten,
Okay.
Karsten's Insurance. He used to be with American Family, or as people in the biz say, AmFam.
And Sam.
He used to be with AmFam, huh?
But now he's a broker.
Now he's a broker.
There's a guy, J.P. West, in that book. He's a broker. So I've used him. It's amazing. I've gone to multiple insurance people, and they'll be like, I can't touch this one. I can't, they're actually honest with you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
girl's good. Karen with Warrior Insurance. Yeah, she's been really helpful. I mean, that one in Mountain Shadow, it was a home that had burned down, and then whenever, they
Yeah.
rebuilt it. One
Yeah.
that I just closed, and she got him a great rate for that. Like,
Nice.
I mean, they were nervous, and I was nervous because
Yeah.
I mean, it had already burned down. Like
It burned down when?
during the fire,
During the
Waldo
Waldo
Canyon,
Canyon,
yeah.
Of
yeah.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember having a house under contract up there. We got it under contract on Tuesday. It burned down on Thursday. And I was calling my clients to go, hey, I
you
looked
the
at
buyer?
I looked
Is
at
it
the
the
aerials and I
buyers?
saw that it was gone. But I was calling my sellers.
It was your seller.
Yeah, my sellers, and I was going, hey, have you guys heard about your house yet or anything? And they're like, no, but we're further, we're far down, we don't think anything happened. It's all good. And I was like, okay, well, let me know when you hear from the authorities. And I'm like, I want to tell them so bad because the
'Cause you
aerials
knew.
you could see it's
See.
ashes,
Wow.
literal just ash. And so
That's
I had it
crazy.
under contract. It was supposed to close, like in 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
So the family that bought it was here. They had their 25-foot trucks,
Oh,
with
yeah.
all full of their furniture,
Jeez.
and they
What a
drove
mess.
in.
What a
The fires
mess.
come down. They evacuated everybody. They holed up in a hotel for 3 days till the closing.
And then the
and
house
they,
is gone.
And the house is gone.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine that?
No.
That would. Oh my
They-
God.
Right. I felt more sorry because my people got insurance and I helped them buy a house in the
Yeah.
Broadmoor and everything's
Yeah.
fine. But those other people, man, that
Who
just
were
moved out
coming
here
in.
from Vegas with their kids and everything, that was brutal.
Did they
Oh,
did they go
absolutely.
ahead and buy it and rebuild, or did they find
No,
something else?
they had to go buy something else.
Yeah.
They would have been there forever.
Yeah.
Years
Yeah,
to,
it took
to
like
iron all that
couple
out.
years.
probably a couple years to
Yeah.
iron all that out.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
I've-
Jeez.
All
I've
their
had-
inspection money, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I've had, there was a hailstorm night before closing in the Falcon area, and I was closing a house in the Falcon area, and I'm like, oh crap. I'm so freaked out, I'm on the phone. Hey, did you get any hail? It was plenty of rain, but no hail. But like less than a mile away, people
People were
got
getting nailed.
hammered.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hammered, like half a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like good because tonight's supposed to be really bad, but we're closing at 2.
That's right. Wow. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That's when you have a relationship and you say, "Can you bump up closing?" Can you
Right.
ask him?"
Yeah,
Yep.
We need to amend closing one more
we
day.
need to call the lender. Hey, we're gonna close today.
The second that the mayor knows that there's fire coming, right?
Yeah.
Let's close.
Right.
That's
wow.
what happened out in California.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, right.
With all that stuff. It's crazy.
What the mayor do?
I know that when Trump had gone there and he was telling them to let them rebuild and do it because it would go faster, right?
Yeah.
But then the mayor and the governor outsourced it to some company to do
To rebuild what?
to rebuild those houses in Pacific Palisades.
So you wouldn't have individual builders? You just have one builder?
That's what Trump was telling them to do, right?
So they could get it done.
So they can get it done quicker and get their
Right, have all
permits
his
and all
building-
that stuff. But now it's all caught up with what he told them not to do. Right?
So now they're saying one builder is going to build all your
rebuild all this
thousands
stuff.
of houses.
They have contracts with.
Are you kidding me?
It's crazy. That's why Trump said it'll
You
take
can't
so
be in
long.
charge of my build with my insurance, can you?
Well, it's the Socialist Republic of California.
That doesn't
And
make-
because they're in those, what are they? Those oceanography areas. They have these coastal commission areas.
Yes, my father-in-law I was
Mhm.
in Santa Cruz a couple weeks ago for a funeral, and he's
Right.
telling me all the stuff that this coastal commission does, and it's like,
It's horrible.
it sounds like they're in place just to be a pain,
Just
Uh-huh.
delay things.
screw people over,
It's a California.
even people that don't deserve to. Yeah, it's.
Right.
It's just another agency that's taxing
You know.
and
I mean, if
and putting restrictions on what
I
you can do
asked my,
Huh.
my in-laws, why do you
because
live
of the
here?
coast.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, my passion, my greatest passion in life, I go, is your wife. He goes, right. My second greatest passion is sailing.
Oh.
And so he sails. He's
Mhm.
Yeah,
and so he has to
have
live. He has to live.
You want to
there.
live there, you got to pay for all
Sailing
that
at
stuff.
Lake Dillon doesn't cut the mustard. So
That's right,
you
exactly.
know, so which is good because otherwise you live here.
Yeah.
You know? It's crazy.
Huh?
Crazy stuff.
So I didn't know this, but did you know that NAR is requiring us to do a fair housing class every 3 years now, starting January
Doesn't surprise
No.
As in January of
of
25.
this year? Yes.
No, I didn't know that yet.
Yeah.
Are they doing anything about the lawsuits and all that stuff too?
Didn't
Is
I
there-
just see something
I
changed
saw that
yesterday?
there was something that, yeah.
Coming soons or something, they have to be listed within a day or. I don't know,
Something, yeah, there was
changed.
something that I
that's
saw.
that's already a rule in our MLS.
But then maybe
That
that's changed.
they have to. You have to have a listing agreement in place before you park a sign anywhere.
Yeah.
And if you put a sign, it either has to be active or coming soon on MLS.
Yeah, I think this was the other states now that are
Oh,
kind of
okay.
coming into, I think it said if you post it on Facebook or anything that you have a coming soon, it has to be listed within a day.
So with that being said, the house 2 doors down from me, it was an Airbnb.
Mhm.
They bought it a couple years ago. Well, they just put it on the market. Well, there's a sign out front. And I called the guy on last Friday, called him 3 times. It's still not an MLS. And I'm going, so why did you park the sign out if you're not even going to field calls,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So he actually called me on my way here.
What do you say?
He says, oh, sorry I didn't get with you. I'm just not sure when we're going to make it active because I'm trying to get my photographer, all this stuff.
And you
But,
can't put your sign out.
You're
Right,
trying to get
sign
my
out there,
driver.
yeah.
I get him out quickly.
you know,
You're not even under-
I wanted to tell him, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I might have a buyer for him, but I don't know. He's gonna list it for $825. I said, hey, good luck with that.
Well-
Yeah. you just went through that in that area.
But that house isn't stupid like that house.
It's hard. Have you guys ever heard of Open Door?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like,
Lipstick on a pig.
yeah, so my neighbor, we've known each other for 20 some years. He has me come over and say, "What's my house worth?" You know, I'm retiring. We're going to move to Minnesota. So I tell him $899. Your house is awesome.
They're
it's
a
on
cash
an
offer
acre
place,
of land.
right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, acre of land, $899. He calls me later and goes, "Rob, I think I'm going to go with this thing called Open Door." Basically, what they're going to do is they're going to buy my house in Minnesota. So I go out there, they buy the house, as long as I list with them my house, and then when I sell that house, they get paid back for buying my house. And I was like, I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
I mean, how can I compete? That's pretty awesome. And so he goes, I think I'm going to go with that. Well, they list the house. The sign sat there for weeks and weeks and weeks, like you're saying. It actually it was one of those hanging signs, and it like fell off, and I don't even know where it is anymore. It's just a thing.
It's just the outside.
It says coming soon on the
Nothing.
top.
And it's just a
And I'm
wood.
waiting, and it's never coming on. And my wife's like, I think people have looked at that house. I saw a car parked there, and I go, they're probably painting or I don't know what they're doing. So then I go, well, hold on, let me Google it. I Google, it's in the Denver MLS
Yeah.
for $7.99,
Yeah.
$100,000 lower, and in the Denver MLS. It's not even in our MLS.
Oh my gosh.
He took $100,000 cut.
$100,000
Just so they would
loss.
buy his house,
And
so
it's
he didn't
in
have
And
Denver.
it's a Denver.
Yeah.
I
It's
couldn't
like
bel-
your closing costs are
I
gonna
keep
be higher,
looking
too.
every
Yeah.
day. None of
Well,
us know about it.
And,
Yeah.
and you know what? It's funny. People say, "Yeah, but I saved a bunch of money on commission." But you sold it. You lost 100,000 in profit.
Yeah.
Wait, did
Yeah.
they lose on commission? I think Open Door probably still pays at least 3% on, or maybe 2%. I don't know what they pay for
Yeah.
buyers agents.
But they're not charging.
They're not taking
you.
any commissions?
I don't think so because their whole point is we're gonna sell it and make a profit. They make the profit on the sell. I got a thing.
Oh,
in the mail.
profit on the
Flip 'em.
sell.
They
This,
flip 'em.
there is no profit on the sell.
Yeah, it's
Because they
$7.99,
bought
they're
it.
losing.
They flip it.
oh, they bought
No,
it.
They
no,
buy
I don't
Door
think they
bought
bought it. Do they buy it?
They buy
I
them.
think they
generally.
buy
They
'em.
buy 'em.
Yeah.
Oh, for $7.99.
So they gave him 800 cash,
No, they didn't.
Like Zillow.
Oh, the 800 cash.
$7.99 or whatever, and then
Yeah, they buy it,
But then
'cause-
did they list it for what they bought it for? Or did they pay him $750 and then try to
Yeah,
make?
less. He probably got
Oh, I
less
wonder.
for them to
Oh,
make
if
their
they
money
list-
back.
Yeah. So I got a thing
Oh,
in the
maybe
mail,
that's
open
what
door, and I thought, okay, I don't want to list it. My realtor's an idiot. Not really. He's really smart. Tall. Anyway,
Sidetrack.
and I filled out this thing, and they sent me a thing back for like $550. Like, oh shit, $550. I mean, there's not a realtor on earth that can't sell this house for $550 when it's around $800.
Yeah, right,
You
yeah.
know, you know. So, yeah, that's what they're doing.
We have a
Do
company
you
like
think
that
he
too.
just
It's-
took a hit, sold it for 700?
Well, so what was
Yeah,
the
'cause
whole
it's
point
cash.
though? But what was the point of them buying his house somewhere else if he was going to have the cash?
He didn't
for
want to have to
4
like
days?
go up there and figure out if he has to stay in a hotel or
It
whatever
probably had
until
a
he
big
finds a
flaw.
house.
It probably had a big flaw. The
I
house.
bet he's not happy.
There was something.
Money,
Yeah,
no,
they did
probably
not have
money
it.
just
Yes.
didn't mean anything to him.
Yeah,
They
I
sold
think the
him a.
convenience of it
yeah.
The convenience
is like,
was more
hey,
important.
There was
no
something you
inspections.
didn't know.
They'll buy my
Just
house.
get the
They'll
moving van and go.
He
they'll
was-
buy the house in Minnesota. They'll buy this house here, sell it, and they're giving me $750. I'll take it, and I don't care. And they sell for $7.99 instead of $8.99. Okay.
Because you know Zillow took a bath when they were buying houses
Mm-hmm.
because they had a computer to price them, and so I mean
They're still offering.
they were losing like an average of $85,000 for every house they bought and sold.
It's
Yeah.
not a proven
They were
model.
losing
like,
money
Yeah.
because they
Depends on
had
the
some
market.
computer.
I
So much
lost
instability
multiple
right now.
clients where
We
they
have-
bought them for way too high.
And we have a
Yeah.
company called Easy Street Offers that's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, they still undercut,
Yeah.
you know.
What's
And
that
it's okay to
system,
undercut,
CVM?
but man, just
Is it called CVM when you're in Realist and they show a value and it's like a 95% confidence number?
Oh yeah,
CVM,
it's
RVM.
realtor
Yeah, yeah.
valuation.
They go off
market,
those.
Maybe
Appraisers
two
go
or
off
whatever.
those.
Yeah,
And then there's
We
another
should be
one.
using those more if we're not.
well, they're always off.
I know they're not based on the inside, but they're a
Well,
good
they-
starting point.
I see some that say poor, and I'm like, based on what?
Yeah, if they're confident, if they're high confidence.
The confidence level, I don't understand the metrics on that because I've seen it where it says poor, but it sold in 5 days. It was priced
Yeah.
right. I don't understand.
It's their
it.
confidence that they're not very
Yeah.
confident in that one. when
Well,
they say-
especially in here, the way I do my listing appointments now when I go to someone's house, and I'm doing my analysis before I go. I don't commit to a price until I see the house, number
Right.
one. But I always look at Zillow and the different
that's what they're gonna look
valuations.
at.
Because that's what they look. Yeah.
Because that's what they're looking at.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at my analysis and I go, okay, let's say it's 500 grand. It's 500 grand. I look at Zillow and it says 525. I'm like, oh, I might have to say 525 just to appease them because I used to lose listings when I would come in lower than Zillow. So now I have to, because another agent will do that and then they'll come down in value when we get
Oh,
people
yeah,
in.
yeah. I was
So
right,
it's like
but you
I
got
would
paid.
rather have the listing, and so most of the time, I'm going, okay, I have this value and Zillow is pretty close. And so, but if Zillow's higher, I have to go with
You
that.
almost have to,
You
yeah.
have
And
to.
I would
then,
just-
and then what,
You'll lose the
negotiate
listing.
down, then you come
Yeah.
down to
Yeah.
the
And
sweet
that's when
spot?
you use,
Yeah.
that's
Or
when you
you do
use
a,
the
like a
speech.
range and let them
You know,
decide.
we
Yeah,
can
you say,
always
we'll do it
come
at your
down.
price
Right.
if you want, here's
Yeah.
what I think
We'll let
it's
the
worth,
showings
and we
be
have
our
to drop
guide,
it after
blah,
blah,
2
blah.
weeks or something.
Yeah,
I tell them, I go, look, you guys,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
your
exactly.
house is
And if there's no
unique, and
showings,
you know, well, if it is
it's-
unique, a lot of times we have,
Yeah.
because like in Rock
Black
Rimmon,
toilets.
in Rock Rimmon, let's say Zillow's looking down at all the different houses, right? They're just looking at the data. Well, one's in the valley, one's on the hill next to the
And it
sunburn,
looks like they're neighbors.
but it looks the same on paper, and so the one on the hill is worth a lot more than the one in the valley. And so sometimes I tell people, look, your house is it's worth what I can get you for it. Let's just see what the market says, and then we worry about the appraisal. You can always come down. We can never go up. So we might as well start a little high, you know, when I see that the Zillow thing is messed up. And so we at least try, you know. But
yeah.
it sucks doing that, knowing that you're gonna have to come down, but I'd rather do that to have a listing
Yeah.
Then lose it.
than lose
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, well, Zillow says my house is worth $950. Well, aren't they cute?
Now that would be a good one. Well, aren't they
Aren't
cute?
they cute?
Do you wanna hear about the AC thing?
Yeah,
The title company listed it as an exception. You know, they do exceptions. The
Uh-huh.
AC unit is an exception, which the buyer didn't like. I don't know, they didn't make a big deal out of it, they just slipped it in as an exception.
uh-huh.
So they recorded
And they
some-
required an ILC. And then I said, what about removing the exceptions? And they said, you can put that in writing. So is the removal of the exceptions only about the OEC, the owner's extended coverage? If the buyer chooses not to ask for OEC, will the ILC requirement be removed? I
So-
just really started
so how-
spinning this.
And what neighborhood was this?
Loveland, Colorado. Loveland North.
north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
we
in
have
Love-
neighborhoods that
okay.
I think we have at
There's some in
least a
Longmont,
5-foot offset
It's the-
of the house.
The setbacks in El Paso County are 5 feet.
Yeah, I think that's what it
Or
is.
city.
Yeah,
I
we
think in
can't go
city
right
it's-
up,
it's
unless
5
it's a townhome complex, we can't go right up.
It's 5 feet.
Yeah, you can't
so-
use the common wall as the lot line, right? Like,
Yeah, you can't just
they-
use,
They
so
do.
in Loveland they
It's
do.
crazy.
Yeah.
So-
Sounds like.
And
it's
then I
unbelievable.
said, have you ever insured a property in the subdivision before? Because they should just refer back to how they handled it last time. And then I put it on them and said, would you please explain this to the buyer? Because people don't understand this stuff. And do you agree with that? We should go directly to the title company. I tell my clients, call the title company.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I can't explain this to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says in the contract
Yeah.
that we don't know this stuff.
Well, and when it's an exception,
I know I need to order an ILC because I
we're not a
can read
party
just
to
didn't
any of
wanna
that
pay for the
stuff, so
ILC.
we
Right,
don't know.
yeah.
And I didn't want it to
We
bring
don't
up
know
horseshit.
what the terms of any of those agreements are.
I said,
That's
what
why
if-
we
yeah.
accept them out.
The ILC is going to just show that it's there, so then you're still going to do an exception, so what's the point? So
Mhm.
I challenged them on this one just to explain it. They sent me a paper about what is an improvement. So it was about whether or not it was an improvement. I don't know, it really got
I
interesting.
would argue that it's not an improvement
Fun, that's,
because you can't pick up a fence and move it, but you can pick
Yeah,
up an
you
air
brought that up, the
conditioner.
improvement thing.
yeah, you can move it from my mower.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
says,
So,
what is an improvement, what is an improvement location certificate?
Oh,
yeah.
so they wanted to make sure the
Everybody
footprint
wants
was
to know
never
that.
changed.
I always go, we might have to order an ILC, what is that? You know,
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
knows.
Well, then they hear the
If
price
we
and they're
do
like,
closing
no.
instructions and we want
The
heritage,
time, don't they take forever?
Sometimes it just depends on who you
do
have
we
to.
put your name down for heritage title, what do we do?
For what?
On closing instructions, cause
You put Julie.
that's what I
Closer.
do,
Yeah, Julie.
right?
She's your
But
closer.
he put you.
Yeah, no, he changed it. He
Oh,
fixed it.
okay.
Yeah, I told him, yeah, Julie.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I go, I don't know if you put Rory down there.
No, yeah.
He
No, I
goes,
talked
well,
to
I
him.
put Rory on there, okay.
I talked to everybody. I talked to the attorney on that deal. I've talked to everybody on that
Okay, yeah.
deal.
He said you literally showed up at the house or something and showed him what to do? What? One of our agents said that you met at the house.
I went out to Rick DeLong.
Oh,
I
Rick
went
DeLong, yeah.
I went out to his Peyton.
One of our agents said, I had Rory come out and look at the lot and everything and tell us what we need to do. I went, what? He came?
I brought the maps out there just to
Oh,
make
that
sure.
was unbelievable.
It was a perfect. Yeah, it was fine. That's a great listing that he has out there. That's
That's-
a beautiful place.
He went all the way out to Peyton on
I
a
do all kinds of stuff.
$1 million
I don't
listing.
care.
Surprised, yeah.
I was like, wow, that is
Trip.
studly,
That's what
Rory.
you know, I'm from Southern California,
Yeah.
and it takes to get through Southern California anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to get across town.
That's
Here
awesome.
it takes me a half hour to get from, so I could go anywhere. I don't.
That's
really care,
cool, man.
You know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick was
Funny.
telling me that. I was cracking up.
Yeah, I was only out there for a little bit because there's like a bunch of outbuildings and stuff,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that inspection was gonna take hours, and I was like, I gotta go.
When you're inspecting now, you can have the title guy
Yeah,
show up
and-
and let
well,
you know. If
And I
everything
went
was
to the
good.
inspector and I go, "Do you need to do anything with the lot lines?" I go, "That's not you, right?" And he's like, "Nope."
That's right. That's awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah,
So you just laid eyes on it, or what'd you do?
I just
exactly?
went out there, basically showed up and said, "Do you guys need any of this stuff?" They said no. And I was like, "Okay, bye."
This is the title guy.
I was probably there for
Exactly.
40 minutes, just checked out I
That's
looked at the
cool.
property
Yeah.
myself and talked to
Made
them a
Rick
little
look
bit.
good from his clients.
Yeah, that's what
That's cool.
I'm,
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll go on your guys' listing appointments. I don't care. Like I'll do all that stuff.
So on Saturday, we had a big poker tournament, and I had the title guy come,
Yeah.
and he came, and he made me look good. He lost.
Yeah.
A bunch of
You lost
times.
fast. I lost
He's
fast.
like, I'm glad I can make you look
Actually,
good.
I didn't lose fast in the tournament. I lost fast in cash.
Exactly, that's right.
But I'm loving it. I'm having fun with that.
That's
I love
cool.
It. Well, that's what now we want to do.
You're partying your way to the top.
Yep, we want to
That's
start
exactly right.
a title or a real estate
Lender.
and lender poker group.
Poker group at Heritage Title.
Yeah, I talked to a lender yesterday. He was about it. He was like, "Oh, that sounds great."
Oh, of
You know,
course,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna start building. So, real quick, how many the weight of the chips should I get? Clay chip? Because I
I'll,
want to
I'll
get the.
tell you exactly where to go.
Okay, because I don't want to get the
Wow.
cheap
Where I
stuff.
got all my chips.
Okay, because I don't want to get cheap stuff. I want it to be
No,
good.
it's awesome.
Okay,
Dippers.
start.
Yeah, it's this. See, you've seen these.
Pokerchips.com.
Is that what it is?
It's pokerchips.com. See, look at all.
Starting a
See?
mess.
And see
How
there,
do you have
yeah,
that many?
Oh.
and see
Oh,
there.
those are my
Why
business
are they
cards.
there? It's not the little
my
plastic ones.
business
No,
the
cards.
little
it's
spinny
not
thing.
cheap ones. Yeah.
Those are like real casino chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what we want to play with because it just feels better.
Look at these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, and he's got
I
like.
just had the little spinny, those little disc things, the little cheap ones.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I want to get the nice ones. So
Yeah, you want the kind of heavy
Oh.
ones, and then you want to be able to put.
Your,
And I'm gonna buy the couple felts. I think
Yep, I'll
we're
show you
talking
where to
about
go.
doing it inside our office in the
I know.
closing rooms.
Yes, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Mike, our boss was cool with it.
Yeah,
So
I'll bring the felt.
yeah,
and show you what it looks like.
if I tell our management company if we're done by 11:30 midnight, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And everybody's out.
yeah. You
You
can
should have
start
the
it.
fire alarms off.
The bathrooms are unlocked.
Stogies.
And no, and I'll hang out the whole time
Cubano.
so that
Yeah,
there's
because what
somebody
you'll
there.
do is you'll just do a one tournament. We play two, and so
Uh-huh.
sometimes they can last till one. But if you just did one,
Mhm.
get a little bit deeper stack of
Yeah.
chips instead
Yeah.
of 4,000.
A little bit of a longer
Give
game.
them 10,000 bucks.
Yeah.
And then accelerate if it's dragging, just accelerate the blinds.
You accelerate the blinds. Exactly. We'll work it all out.
Cool. I'm like,
'Cause I
our people
know-
are all about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
You're gonna
I'm-
get so many clients, dude.
I'm tired of selling title. I want to sell a poker tournament.
Yeah, that's right. And then they'll use you.
Yes.
You'll be like, put me on the closing instructions. I mean, put Julie on the closing. Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
and we're doing something that all the other title people aren't doing. Most of these title people are into pickleball and dodgeball, but I want all ages. Like,
Dodgeball.
that's
Yeah.
for
It's
that
coming
kind of
back.
younger folks too. People get hurt playing that stuff. I want
Yeah.
all ages.
Yeah.
So
If I played in an organized dodgeball, I'd lose my life insurance policy.
yeah, you sign
Oh,
off
he's
on
a
that.
not to mention your
Well,
life.
plus-
Do you engage in any risky activities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
it's a
poker
question-
is such a a relational sport, I
Yeah.
guess. You know, like pickleball, you know,
Yeah.
you're running around, you're not really talking to people,
More
but when
physical.
you're sitting at the poker table, it is all about hours of just
You're not
having
sweating.
fun together.
Yeah, and some of the
Exactly.
conversations
And everybody's
are awesome.
80-year-olds or yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's fun. But then you have some of the serious people who are real quiet, just doing
Right.
their thing.
That's right.
Yeah, it's fun. I've never
With
really
the
been
hoodie.
into it until
Yeah.
I started playing with you and Charles.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, no.
that's cool.
And I learned a lot on Saturday too. Like I learned how to deal. I learned how to do all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
And it's like just starting to open up the stuff. I want to like I keep telling people I'm partying my way to the top.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
I got to
right.
create the party.
That's right. You gotta create
Yeah.
the party. Exactly.
So yeah,
That's
good
cool.
stuff. So Charles came back. Good,
Yeah.
good.
You guys didn't even know Charles left.
For a second.
What do you mean?
He left for a week.
He left the choir to go to Redfin.
No, he didn't.
He lasted 2 weeks, and he's like, "Dude, this is horrible."
Yeah, I told him. We were at poker one night, and he said that he was going there, and I go, "Why?" I said, "Why?"
What was the
He
reason?
he said he thought that it would, because they basically pay them. You know, it's a low
They feed
it's a
him
low
leads.
percentage, but they're just feeding him
Yeah.
millions
Oh,
of people.
okay.
And so all he would do is he'd just be a drone showing and making contracts or whatnot. And he was like, man, if I could build my database for like 12 months and build that database,
Yeah.
then I could come back to Acquire and have this huge database that they sent me, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't last 2 weeks.
But it
Yeah,
was-
He was like,
didn't
it
work
was
out.
horrible.
And like the day, like last week, one of those big mortgage, I think Rocket Mortgage just purchased.
That was
Well,
his
there was some combination.
that was his biggest
Mm-hmm.
reason for leaving. He said that Rocket Mortgage have these really high rates and really high fees.
Yeah.
And they
And
want
that
you to
he
use
would
them.
not get very many leads unless he made his people go to Rocket
Oh.
Mortgage.
Uh-huh.
So everybody that
Oh.
he gets,
Oh,
and he goes, dude, I
gotta
can't
be
screw
illegal."
people.
That,
Yeah.
Right, that's what he says.
And then they run you
illegal?
through their
It's definitely not
organization,
illegal.
their
Oh,
title.
that's
their
Right.
everything.
I was like, that's
He
not
won't
easy.
get any leads, so now he can't build his database. So he'll just
Yeah.
build it the way he's been doing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the first time I talked to a Redfin agent, they said, "Hey, this is so and so with Redfin," and I go, oh, "Man, I love seafood."
You mean
Oh,
Yellowtail?
I'm sorry, you're an agent. Okay.
Oh,
All right, well,
right.
let's do lunch. I love seafood.
Right.
No, I work
That's
for.
funny.
Oh,
I want to ask you guys something real quick before we leave. Do you ever do wants and needs? When I was at Remax forever ago, at our meetings towards the end, we would go around and everybody would say something like, "I have a listing
I have a
coming
buyer
up here,
who needs
and I have a
this."
buyer
You
that
can if
needs
you want,
this."
sure.
Have you ever tried doing that?
No.
I think
Round
it's a,
tables,
I
anything
think
you
it's
want.
a good way for us to have a bigger
I
presence.
just sent
Sure.
one of my
Yeah.
agents is in California and she has listings here.
Uh-huh.
And so I just hooked Jessica up with her. She's an agent from EXP.
Uh-huh.
And so she's doing like open houses for her and stuff now.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So what are your wants and needs?
Yeah, what
What
are
do you
they?
I don't really have any right now.
I'm also with, like I was telling them, is after your closings and stuff, I'm going to send you like
Yeah.
some information.
Yeah.
But I'm going to send you information on your community.
Okay.
Okay? So
Yeah.
that you can start working.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a want and need, and if you guys want to be part of it, let me know. So, Scott has this campaign running for old people, that are selling their big homes and they need to get into a patio home or something, right? And so I was pretty good at landing those, but I got so much going on. I said, Scott, I got to get some people to help me on this stuff. But I don't know if they would want to, because he's sending me all these people to call, and they're literally texting back with the AI texting thing and saying, I got to sell my home, I got to do this, and I'm not calling them. And I'm feeling really guilty. Right? So, but it requires more follow-up than that, because one says, hey, I'm not ready yet, I'm just looking. Because they're kicking the tires. They're thinking, Marge, we got to downsize. What do we need to do? And they're online, and then they hit us. We just need to keep following up. And then I also found out that a lot of the retirement centers right now, the apartments and everything that they have, retirement communities, they will give realtors money if you put them into
I
the
really gotta go.
retirement community.
So
Hi,
I'll see
Scott.
you all.
really?
Yeah.
See,
Wait. My mom lives at Palisades at the Broadmoor. What do they do? What will they
They'll
do?
give you money if you bring someone. So my
I
in
didn't
my
give you
Bible
money.
study, I
give
go
you
to
money.
Harmony Retirement Center up here, and
Yeah.
everybody's old, right? And one of the guys, the leader of the Bible study, is saying, "Hey, you guys, everybody should move into Harmony and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "You're the greatest salesman." He goes, "Well, they give me $8,000 if I, 1 month's rent if
Really?
I bring somebody."
I took someone there, I guess almost 2 years ago now.
Uh-huh.
Not to there, but to another place.
So
I sold her house and she moved into this.
right, so I'm
Independent
used to
living center.
right, so I'm used to selling their house, and when they need an independent living center, I just go, well, yeah, you'll need to go
Use
find
your
one.
family
I don't
shop
think
around,
about
yeah.
that, right? And so I
and then
need
you
to
can get part of that
the lady
referral
showed me
fee.
around and everything with
worth asking.
my client.
Yeah.
right,
Make sure you
And it's
ask.
like-
right. So
I
you're
didn't even
selling their
think about
house.
that.
They're coming through this campaign Scott has set up, and then we're selling their house. And if we can find, whether they need a $3,000 a month or an $8,000 a month or $10,000 a month, those centers are looking for people. They have vacancies, and if we devise a list, we can help them move into something like that. We need to be these senior.
They're building
We have
like-
There is a
10
senior
years at
specialty.
least, 10 to
There's like
15 years of these.
4 or 5 new ones right there where Springs Ranch Golf Course was on.
Yeah, they're building them everywhere.
And they're within
They're building one
3 or
right
4
next
years
to
old.
Empire Title too, in that little
Right.
empty lot right
and they're
there.
all needing people, and they're
They're
all
all
hitting this thing, and
senior communities.
I can't keep up with it. So I told Scott today. I said, Scott, I really gotta ask some agents if they want to help with this stuff, But
Just start.
and he's
divvying
spending
them out.
$1,000 a month on this campaign, and I can't keep up with
Why
it.
don't you divvy them
So
out to your
what do
people?
we have to do? Like,
Well,
we
what
just-
I would want you to do is I would want you to, I would have to ask him how we can distribute those leads
Yeah.
to everybody. And then you just have to follow up and follow up and follow up, because these people, they need a certain amount of care
Yeah.
that they don't know what to do. They've been in
Right.
their house 30 years.
Is this all
and they don't-
elderly people?
Well, there's
well,
a
they're
lady.
all retired, and they could be from 60 to
70.
90.
Yeah.
Like
still
right now, I
want-
have 3 people
They
that are in their
appreciate
90s that
some
I'm helping.
customer service and loyalty and that kind of stuff.
Well, I
Right.
have a lady at my mom's place, and she had my mom call me, and I came in, and she sat down, and she said, "I want you to list my house." Her house was already listed. Like, I'm like,
She
I
forgot.
No, she didn't forget. She wasn't happy with what they were doing, and I
Oh.
said,
Yeah,
"Well,
yeah.
until you don't have a contract with them anymore. Really, my
Right,
hands are tied.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I can do for you until
Right.
that's expired and the holdover's done, and or what all that you went through. It's
What do
like,
you-
but I'm saying there is a huge need for that. Like,
It's a huge need, and I feel like, because I was just talking to Scott today, I feel, Damon, he's ponying up with Scott, and he's getting some, and he's closing them, and he got his senior adult
That specialty,
designation or
yeah.
whatever, and stuff like that.
That's probably not too
And-
hard to get.
And right, and I'm thinking that if Damon can do it, being a young guy,
And it's
us
Dave, and
older
David,
people,
yeah.
I can do it.
we
I mean, I'm happy
really
to
could
do
help.
it.
Hey,
these
if David can do
people,
it,
right?
anybody,
Because
all of you guys can
they would
too.
trust us.
Yeah.
It's not their grandkids
Yeah.
helping them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Right.
in
And
that one.
What would
all
you
the
do?
time.
Follow up like every 45 days, 30 days?
No, you're constantly following up, because when they start kicking the tires, it moves really quick. It's like buying a car, and you go to a lot just thinking about it. Within a week, you have a car.
Yeah.
A lot of
Once
times
they
they're
test
trying.
drive, it's like,
Well, and are we talking to them, or I'm sure you have to talk to the family,
family,
too,
too.
because the
Yeah.
family,
I was gonna
say,
like
I mean-
my brothers and
Mom
I
will
made
come in
this
and
And
kill
decision.
sometimes they have
Yeah,
conservatorships
so-
and
Yeah.
stuff.
What happens is, like the ones I have going now, I have a system where I'll go in and their family's there, and they're like, "This is my mom. We got to get this thing sold. What do we do?" And I go, "Well, here's what we do. I will send if you need an estate sale, we can get an estate done, and we can get all this stuff cleared out, everything. Unless you guys have, that would be great. So I have an estate sale person, and then I'll send them in there, and they tell them how it works. And I go, then I send a designer in, a interior designer, stager. She comes in, and she lets you know what we need to do to sell the house, right? Because you want top dollar, and they're like, okay, beautiful. I pay $175 for my interior designer to go in there and consult with them and stuff. And then if you need, I have everything, a junk remove person. I have a whole
All the things that it takes to get it
everything that
done.
they
Like,
need.
I just lived
So
this
when
with
I
my
go
mom.
in, it's a
Yeah.
process
Yeah.
of going through this whole process. The handyman, the painter comes in, the carpet people, whatever we need. And so then they get it done and I sell it and they're just like so grateful. But I've been passing up they're going into a retirement living or they're doing all this stuff. They have to figure that out on themselves. And now I'm thinking maybe we should get into that
Yeah.
too.
I
Do
wonder-
they give you
I wonder
guys,
if
is there
all
a
of
way
them do
that,
that though.
I'm
do you
gonna
guys get a
ask my mom's
referral
place.
fee?
Yeah.
Can you get a referral fee?
From them.
Yeah, huh?
Well, that's
You
what,
might have to work that out
That
with
we
them.
need
That's
like,
what
it's
two
like what
people
you do. You gotta
told me.
call on the businesses and see
One
what
guy
comes.
told it to me that was a realtor. Well, he's in a different state. He told me that he does that and he gets fees up to $10,000.
Yeah.
And then I was at Bible study and that leader who lives at Harmony
He
was
said-
trying to get us to do that because he would get $8,000 off his
Bring
rent.
me your people.
And I went, oh my goodness, it's true.
Wow.
If I bring somebody,
They have sent a letter to my mom where it said if you bring someone, like you'll get a discount. Like my mom would
Right,
get a discount.
somebody
But now
that's
I need
a
to know
resident.
if I refer someone.
Yeah.
well, why wouldn't they? I would negotiate. Look, I have
Right.
a client
For sure.
that would like to be
And-
in your thing. Would you like,
Yeah.
I mean, would you give me a
A finder
commission
fee or
if I
something.
bring somebody to you?
Yeah.
And if they say no, say, okay, thanks.
Yeah, go to
You
the
know,
next
like,
one.
why would they?
I did business development for a bank, and it's no different than like you. So that's like a new, like that's a call. Like you need to go around to every one of them and see which
Right.
one will.
Absolutely.
I just didn't know they had openings. I mean, that's a different level.
Like
of
my mom was on a
motivation.
waiting list.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
so
they
I
were
didn't.
all on
But I'm
wait list.
seeing
So like,
now
if you
that
guys
they're
wanted,
trying to
if
get
anybody
people.
wanted to help, I would ramp up money on that. Like, I would get a ton of that stuff coming in. Right now, I have too much, but we're only spending like $1,000 a month. But I would ramp it up.
I
Let's
mean,
have
I-
another
I-
meeting
Yeah.
about that specifically for just the few of
Yeah.
us that are interested, so you could
Yeah.
tell us more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to know. Yeah, what you would need.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we would both probably be
I
pretty
would
good
do
at
it.
that.
And
Yeah.
build that
Oh, I
up.
think
Because
we
I'm,
really
in,
would.
I'm in with
Understand
those
it,
ladies all
yeah.
the time, and they're
Yeah.
like so appreciative. And my mom's in an independent living, but they've got independent assisted and memory care.
Like,
you
not
know.
only would I
Yeah.
do, get the leads coming in, but we would do like some senior expos around where,
yeah.
cause I went to,
There is a need.
Scott did
Yeah.
one with Damon, and we went to we went to see Bingo Reverse Mortgage down there.
Okay.
It really is called
And-
bingo.
Yeah, it's Bingo Reverse
Yeah.
Mortgage, and we went down there, and it was at the Broadmoor, and there's just millions of seniors walking around, and they're looking at this living and Bingo Reverse Mortgage, and I'm going, oh, if I had a table here on how to main level living and how to do all that, I would get a ton of people to help. And I was like, oh, I don't have time for
Oh,
that.
wow.
But
Yeah.
can you
At a certain
imagine
age,
if
that's
we
what-
did do that?
So at a certain age, that's what folks are starting to think about.
They're all thinking
Is,
about
They need
it.
okay,
help.
I
And
need
like my
help.
mom's only 78, but we moved her from Oklahoma. But my dad died in 20. We had we had the estate sale. Like we had to do all of it. And I mean, we knew the realtor gave us the estate sale person's name. I mean, yeah, it was all of that. And
You could
That's a
connect with
big
a social
process.
worker, and they could give us referrals.
yeah,
Yeah, and I would say we would want to tap into certain people that are in that industry as well, that like a social worker might be working with somebody
Right.
and they're like, you know what, I know some people that can help you do this transition or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
they literally have senior little magazines and different things that they send out, and I was thinking, man, we should really ramp this up because it's so gigantic
It
right
is,
now.
it's huge.
I got like 3 or 4 going on right now. I already closed a couple. Like, it's just coming to me, and I'm not like seeking it out. You know what I'm saying? So what if I sought it out? What if I
That
really?
you had a product for it.
Yes.
Well,
what
you
if
teach
I
us,
jumped
you teach
into
us
this?
how you want it done,
yeah,
and then
like
you get a
there's
percentage
PT
when we
that comes
close
in.
it.
My mom's PA
Right.
comes to that place.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, there's also other referral sources in those people that come to that facility, like the physical therapist, the PA,
Things they
all the
need.
people.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
And you think about the population. So I was born in 1964, so I'm the last year of
Baby
being a
boomers.
boomer. Okay.
Uh huh.
So there's a lot more people 15, 20 years older than me. They're 80.
yeah,
They're 75. That's when those people are going into these places.
yeah.
Right.
There's
And
a ton
guess
of-
what? if they don't go, some of them just want patio homes because the
Yeah.
mental hurdle from
Yeah.
the big house to the patio
Yeah,
home.
just the downside.
They'll be in that patio home for a couple years and then they're
And they need
then they're
Realize.
going.
living.
Yeah.
So now you
Yeah.
have to sell their patio home.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? So you'd keep up with them that way
Right.
too, and we would have a whole thing. And do you guys remember when we were in Round Table and I said, would you guys be interested if I put a sign out in the front door?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
for
says
that
Main
place next
Level,
door.
right?
Yep.
Because all the old people are running
right
back
there,
and
yeah.
forth. And that's when I started going, but I gotta have a system. I gotta figure all this out. But I think I do have a system. I just need to figure out how to ramp it all up.
Maybe call that guy who says that he gets 8,000. Maybe he'll split
So
his fee-
I
his-
looked up this one.
his commission with you or something for the referral.
Oh, the 8,000.
That $8,000 guy who
Right.
said, "Bring me your people."
Oh no, he
He's a resident.
he was a realtor in another state.
Oh, got
And
it.
he says, I'm starting to help these people into senior adult living and stuff, and I'm getting like up to $10,000. I went, what? They do that? And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm passing up money.
So here's a place
Yeah,
that
because there could be
one
a
of my
road
clients went into,
along.
Okay.
Right.
What's it called?
and it's called Revel, and it's right there, kind of behind Lowe's on New Center Point, off of Powers, not far from the old spaghetti factory.
Yeah, next to In and
So,
Out.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and residents get $2,500, or friends can do 25. We'll get 20, or anyone else can get a $2,500 referral.
See, so they
And
are.
this is just a basic.
It's not a closing.
Yeah, it's just like it's an apartment.
Yeah.
It's an apartment.
It's not a closing, it's
The
just
check would
bringing
come
your
to
client.
acquire,
to them.
Yeah.
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 And then
You
they
know.
cut you a check.
and then
Or
we
give
would-
them a free month. I think that's what happened. I think my other client, anyway, I think her friend gave her the free month of rent
That's right. If somebody,
instead of taking the 2,500.
right.
So,
Some of these
But-
people already tell me, oh, Rob, I need to sell my house.
oh wait, there's one.
I'm moving into this, they already found a place. So I wouldn't get it then.
Right.
So-
But
as a
it's the
buyer-
tire kickers that are coming in through the internet
Yeah.
that say, we're not ready, I still gotta sell my house, I gotta do all this stuff. And you're like, no, I would like to meet with you, I can help you.
buyer
Yeah.
agency agreement, but it's lease and not purchase. You get, it's like a commission you get when
No,
you
it would
help
be
them.
like a referral.
It's like
I think it'd be
referral.
totally
I don't think
outside
you'd have
of
a
your.
buyer's
it wouldn't
agency.
even-
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally outside of
It's
Yeah,
your.
because it's a
referral.
So how
referral.
are you getting paid?
The
From-
company
So-
just pays you.
So,
When it comes
and then I just scrolled up. It says, it doesn't have numbers here, but it says realtor referral.
Oh,
Our realtor partnerships are important
Jeez.
to us. If you're a realtor, discover how you can be rewarded for every new move and referred.
So you gotta call them.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm
that's just
asking-
one.
I'm definitely
That's probably
calling her
all
today.
have-
I'm asking Kimberly today.
Yeah.
They all
Just
probably
take us
have
further.
something.
That's right, that's what we've been
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
And that's what
because
this
we have
realtor
people that
was
wanna
telling
move in and
me.
They haven't sold their house yet.
Or you
Right.
could get a listing that's already listed. I mean,
Yeah.
there are just
They just
opportunities
forgot.
coming out the
Right,
I'm like, I can't
Yeah,
list
that's
your
a great
house.
idea.
It's already listed.
yeah.
I didn't even think of looking that up. And I mean, I was going around, the sales lady or property manager, whoever, whatever she's called, was showing my client, this is where your room would be if you sign on the dot, and I'm with her, and I haven't even helped her negotiate
Yeah.
the lease because she's like,
Right.
for Parkinson's and all this
Yeah, like
stuff.
I did the whole thing for my mom, and I'm
Yeah.
a realtor, but I never told him I was
I-
a realtor.
Right, but
Like,
what
I
if we
could've
do
gotten
it
I
a
didn't
bunch of
even-
facilities?
She didn't
We
offer
could.
it though.
Well, I
She
mean,
knew
there's
it.
stuff that.
And then they were
Yeah,
like,
there you
oh,
go.
you know what, we need your cards because we have people coming in all the time who sell
If
their
we go as
houses.
a group,
Oh my goodness, it's just so huge.
Yeah.
It's where we can all make a ton of money.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah, because there could be a couple stops in between them getting to the old folks' home.
Right, sometimes
or
those
whatever,
people are
and then you
kicking
can make money
tires in the
between.
old folks' retirement. Oh, I don't even know what you call it. What do you call it?
My mom
Independent
calls it
Senior
a home,
assisted-
and I'm like, it's a
independent living.
community,
Independent
Mom. It's a
living,
senior community.
And then assisted
Right.
living,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
Memory
like
care.
memory care, nursing
Right.
home.
And you
or-
can't. I don't think you can sign a contract with them.
Yeah.
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 I don't think
It's
you're
like,
allowed.
where do I
Memory care
sign?
people. Yeah.
Right
Or
here.
you
Right.
just go
Yeah.
in and make a deal with the
Yeah, like-
establishment,
Right.
and then maybe.
We have a
Right, if
friend
you're
that
in
just
there
went into a
and-
memory care, and we went and visited him the other day, and he goes, "God damn, am I glad to see you."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "Phil, how you doing?" He goes, I need you to go get me an enema. And I'm like,
All
wait, if I
right.
had a nickel for every time I heard that.
That's funny.
And so, of course, my wife is like, well, let's go. I go, no. This is we don't practice medicine.
Yeah.
And to me, you need to be qualified to give a 90-year-old man an enema. Right?
Is that in your agency agreement?
Yeah.
Just say no.
So,
Okay, so I'll send you guys an email and and then we can meet again if you want to, because I think I need to ramp this thing up quickly
As an
because
office, we could dominate that.
yeah,
the
we
whole
just need
town
to
and
dominate it.
Mhm.
We, you know, we can make videos about it. We can do all kinds. We just need to get that
Tackle
out.
it.
that's right.
Tackle it.
Are you tired of your mom wanting you to help you with everything? Just give me her number. We'll take
That's
care
right.
of it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's
Cool.
awesome. All right.
Good to see everybody.
Good to see you.
We don't tire